listening to the agenda and everyone in this class. Today our group, first let me introduce my group. I'm Aidil Ashraf, and beside me Afnan, Saadah, Meera, and Marvin. So today we're gonna present about language variation. So you guys might consider this as a revision for your quiz next week. So without wasting any time, let's start with right better.
Careful. Do you know who I am?
Wow, speaking so fancy, ma.
Hey, I'm man, I collect the high standard of variety. All the lower class dialects could never match me. Youth with the powerful, youth with the intelligent. Oh, how beautiful and dreaded this beautiful fool.
Who do you think you are, huh? Study so high, think so smart, huh? I speak Chincha, but I'm not but I'm the Mesolite, I'm the Vox Populi. That's the truth, you can't deny. I know you don't like it, you can't lie.
So civilized, so class. If people have to choose, you'd be the last. I'm standardized, codified in textbooks. Don't believe me? Come take a look. Oh, what about you? Voice of the streets? Don't kid yourself, you're not even a shit. Mix and match here and there, no one's gonna understand you. Anywhere.
Okay, this is getting too far. Okay lah, we're both right. We can do this all day if we fight. So, I say we both counted. You know what, I think we both should be a team. What matters is our mutual intelligibility. So, who won? Okay, so good morning everyone. That was our opening act. So, the first part of our slide is we're gonna talk about the diglossia. Diglossia is what you would say is the variety that exists within a language. Usually in diglossia, there's only a high variety and low variety. However, recently they introduced the midway variety. So these variations have different purposes in different contexts and whatnot. So like it's mentioned before, lower variety commonly is normal settings, colloquial languages you would say, and high variety is formal context. So we're going through the lex. So lex is firstly is the acrolag. Acrolag is, you would say, the highest form of variety, or you could say the elite variety. The elite variety, for example, like you would say in English, it would be the received pronunciation. In Bahasa Melayu, in our context, in Malaysian language, would be the Bahasa Baku, the standard Bahasa Melayu, right? But these is prestigious, used in formal settings. So there's no regional variation. No matter where you go, the standard, they will use the standardized language. You wouldn't hear in the news people are speaking Scottish, Welsh, Birmingham, or maybe in the Bogan Aussie dialect. So and normally it's these standardized acrolag is what's taught to outsiders such as us. We would be the outsiders, and we are taught the standardized English language. So the mesolag recently is the midway of these dialects. The colloquial language for almost everyone, majority of speakers. It's also it's been said that it's another way of explaining that some speakers that are fluent in standardized language, and also explains the phenomenon of code switching. So what we can see in mesolags in our context is that we tend to use grammar reduction and simplification. Like, for example, we would say like he arrived already, even though he arrived. We drop the tenses in the sentence. It's not really noticeable enough, but if we were to transcribe it, you can see it. So and then lastly, we go into the basic, which is the lowest form of variety and the most deviation from standard language. Basic is not necessarily bad English. Not necessarily bad English. It's just you would say maybe it's like a result of extensive adaptation and assimilation, and possibly our translation from our L1. So like direct translation, like you know how we speak in Malay. Sometimes we have this very tone like when we agree with someone, we say boleh, right? And then but if we translate it into English, it becomes can. So it's like we're like dancing can here. So both these two, Mesolak and Besilak, is where most regional variations are present. So that's the difference between the Acrolak and Mesolak. So the examples from the video. I think everyone is probably familiar with Acrolak and video.
Hello and welcome to Nightline. The headlines: MAB to retain current domestic and international routes of MAS, and PM launches country's first green public transportation system. Good morning. Malaysia Airlines Berhad will retain the current domestic and international routes of Malaysian Airlines system Berhad, but focus on a competitive cost structure in a bid to become the regional leader by 2018. Its Chief Executive Officer, Christoph Muller, said that more than 40 projects had been identified to position the company for future growth.
For Mesolex, I don't think we need that much example. We can observe that within our own normal speech. As for Basilak is
Dapat suka. Bolos man that one. Wah, I pay you a house, but paper still stronger than him. Ugly guy. Last time try to tackle my girlfriend. No, ask you to look at the video, that kind of place.
So yeah, this is how this is where the dialects will be represented in this social in the linguistic continuum. You know, there's the Acrolak with minimal or no regional variation. Then there's the Mesolak and Basilak with the most regional variation. Right. So that's all for the Acrolaks and such.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and hi again. For language standardization is actually a process which conventional form of language are established or maintained. Standardizations may occur in two different situations. First one is may occur in a natural development of language in speech community, and the second one is could be as an efforts made by members of a community to impose one dialect or varieties as a standard. So for example, we in Malaysia, we have 14 states and 3 federal territories. So we do have a lot of languages and dialects. So in our context, we use Selangor or Kuala Lumpur dialect as our standard, and it could be referred to others members of society. So how do varieties become standard? It could be from recognized dictionary, recognized grammar, standards pronunciations, and educated speech, and linguistic institutions defining usage of like Dewan Bahasa dan Pustaka. For example, the word Soborono is taken from Soborono, right? It's taken from Java words, and it means sebarangan, or basically in English it means casual. So the next one is constitutional legal status, effective public use, cultural canons, and convenience speaking. And it's actually based on the popularity and acceptance in the community itself and populations. So why establishing standards? Because it could be a desire for national, it could be cultural, political, and social cohesion. The next is socio-political issues, and non-standard varieties may be associated to the low prestige or unsophisticated of poor people. Just like Afnan has explained before, basic like it's not really good when it's not really good when it comes to a formal setting. Next is in this process, the variety of those who hold the socio-economic and political power usually prevails as a standard. So as you can see in the slide, it's actually picture shows a coconut. So in Malay we call it kelapa. So in some places in northern peninsula of Malaysia, we used to call it nyok, right?
Nyok. Nyok.
So let's say if we go to the examinations and they want us to label this picture, we cannot label it as a nyok because it's actually not considered as a standard. So you might be get wrong. So all in all, for language standardizations, what I can say is it's really useful and really important in the society, but it also have a drawback. For instance, the development of a standard of language create assumptions about the correct way how to use language. So this leads to the segregations. Do you know segregation? Did you learn from hubungan Ashri last semester? It's actually separate one with another. So it means that it's separate between those who speak language in a correct way and those who do not, and labeling them as an outsider. So next would be qualifications. Marvin.
Okay, selamat pagi. I'm Marvin from the University of the Philippines, and I'm gonna discuss about codification. Yeah, we all know that codification is an overwhelming concept, and we have to root the concept of it. But before going to discuss the overall concept of codification, I think it's much better to give some words, and you guys will be pronounce it. I want to know what will be your pronunciation about on these words. Okay, this word, the first word. What? Advertisement. Advertisement. And then anyone? Any different pronunciation from other from advertisements? You know, in advertisement. Advertisement. Yeah. In American English, they pronounce it. What do you call it? No, in British English, they pronounce it. The advertisement. Like advertisement. The verb will be the stress. Verb. Advertisement. But in American English, they pronounce advertisement. 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 Because we pronounce it as a Filipino, I pronounce it advertisement because we had been colonized with American. Advertisement. This one. Tomato. It's either like acceptable. Tomato. The British English they pronounce it tomato, but English, American English they pronounce it tomato. Meaning the to it pronounced the tomato. So I like the tomato. I like the tomato. It's either one or either one. This one.
Water.
What?
Water. Water.
American English they pronounce
Water.
Water. It becomes the T, water. But British English.
Water.
Yeah, water. Can you give me a glass of water? Something like that. So it's like, what is one?
I want to drink a cup of water.
Either.
Either. It's but acceptable because American English they pronounce it either. So we Filipino we pronounce it either. But American British English either. Yeah, either one. Okay.
Semi.
American English they pronounce with the semi. Then British semi. So have you noticed the pattern? And then this one.
Root.
American English they pronounce it route, but British okay. Herb. You know American English they tend to silent the letter H. They don't herb. But British herb. So they include the herb. I think this one the last one. Oh. No. Before. Oh. This one.
Comfortable.
How many syllables?
Comfortable. 3.
If we just rely on the letter comfortable, right? Comfortable. But American English they pronounce or British English comfortable or comfortable. I don't know it. I have American English then I'm comfortable. What comfortable? Because as a Filipino I thought comfortable. No, I'm comfortable doing that or comfortable.
Comfortable.
So what's the point of presenting these words? Because in codification, it's about pronunciation, morphology, phonology, semantics, and everything like linguistic, scientific study of language. And now it's better to discuss codification.
And the computer hang.
Okay. Codification. There are. I have written 5 or 10 or 7 essential concepts. First, linguistic. Why linguistic? Because codification is a term. It's a term or word that refers to the method by which a language is standardized. Meaning, it's a method. It's a process. There's a what do you call that? Continuum. Continuum is like a flow, transition, something like that. It has been standardized before. There were lots languages, right? And then the government or one institution decided to have one language or one standardized language. So then the second one concept will be standardized because language standardization is the process by which a conventional forms of a language are established and maintained. Meaning, it should be established, and the language should not be only establishing, but it should be maintained. So, what's the point of establishing the language without maintaining it? It should be maintained. It should be supported. It should be what do you call that? Should be spoken throughout the years because the language standardization may not occur in one day. It just happened for over the centuries, and we will get into that. Then the third one, third one, this includes the use of dictionary, traditional book or the traditional grammar, and then what do you call that? Dictionary, encyclopedia, and use dictionary. Then book style or guide style. And why is it important? Because in codification, it must be codified in textbooks. That's why. Do you still remember what Dr. Cass said, that if we rely to the definition of codification, there's no Malaysian English. But we have spoken form, like we have English, Malaysian English, because it's different from English or British English. Like boleh, can, right? And then in Filipino we call it very, very good. But you know, even if we rely to that definition, we don't. The Malaysian English, the Filipino English as well, we don't have. It's not acceptable as codified. But we have a spoken form, and then you know the codification. And then should be. Then the codification. What should I write it about it? Okay. Okay. You know the codification. Just fun fact: codification was popularized in the early 1970s by Enan Morgan, meaning who defined it as a process that leads to the minimal variation in form. Because in codification, it's like in language.
Didn't expect for the computer to be suddenly hanged.
Okay, textbook, traditional book.
Next.
Okay, this one is an illustration. What other words for codification? Then the other one said code, arrangement, classification, order, organization, grouping, categorization, systematization. What did you notice about the definition of the codification? It's like order, right? Order. There is systematic. So codification means there's a list of words. So it makes the word systematic. It has more patterns. And then, so this one, the first one, please be very some dash for dot and bow. And then I don't understand. I only speak English. So this picture depicts the reality of codification or of because even they speak the same language, they can understand each other because of what? Because of different pronunciation, different something. That's why codification is important, right? Because we have something to rely on. But even we have something to rely on, it doesn't mean that our Malaysian language or English language or Filipino language are not good or are wrong, because we have our own pronunciation, and it's like linguistic part of our human being, right? Because this one, modernity in English as a national language. Do you still remember that codification is politically motivated? Politically motivated. Why politically motivated? Because there is one institution or government implements that. So the first one, selection. So they will select words and then codify. They will codify, or they will codify the words or print in a dictionary or release in a dictionary. Then elaboration. They want to give more meaning, or which part of speech it is, or what the pronunciation. And then implementation. They start implementing it to the micro scale, like to the specific country, like Malaysia, Philippines, or other countries. So standardization aims to ensure fixed values for the counters in the system. So what does it mean? So in language, this means preventing variability in pronunciation and spelling. So it's like there's a uniquely accepted or regarded as correct. Not as correct, because they want to know which one is correct. Because there's a lot of languages, right? There's a lot of version of English, or there's a Singaporean English, Filipino English, Malaysian English. So it's important to have what I call it. That's why British English and American English have already released their publications, like dictionary, traditional books. So in linguistic codification, it's the process of selecting, developing, and laying down. So this one, I already. About this one, what did you notice about this picture? What? Maybe wrong? Okay, maybe wrong. And then what else? Yeah, ancient, and then even one word only, even one word. History, then civilization. Okay, we will combine these words because this one reflects the English language. Because the English language didn't evolve in just one day. It evolved, or it has evolved over centuries. So as we can see, this one, there's a lot of war, or many things happen, right? Because in English language, according to I read some article, 10,000 of being them incorporated from French, from German, from other Romanian language. So English language is not pure language. They borrowed some words from other languages. And actually, we know like there's a subject-verb agreement, right? We know that subject-verb agreement. Before it's verb, it can be verb-subject agreement. But it changed because the language is dynamic. It can be changed because as people goes by, there will be new speaker. So the evolution of English language codification is an ongoing process. It has been codified. That's why English, there are a lot of words were dropped before were dropped, and then there are a lot of words were added, and then another format or patterns were invented. That's why how codification has evolved.
So now let's move on to plurilingual. In order to make it more clear, so we will be doing a short sketch so that you will understand the explanation later even better.
Paano ba pumunta sa Penamura? Penamura?
Sorry, I can't understand.
Ano ko sabihin to? Paano ba pumunta ng Penamura?
Sorry, Meera, Jack?
Kasi gusto ko pumunta ng Penamura.
Tenecio tapo, arang ka kanan.
Diretso yung kanan lang. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So, this illustrates that plurilingual consists of many speakers use more than one language. Which means just now, in that situation, I'm supposed to be a person who understands English and Filipino, whereas Marvin who understands English, Philippines, and Filipino language. Saadah understands English and Malay. Thus, this situation shows that this is a plurilingual situation. And next followed by, according to research, it is understood that multi or pluri means many, which involves the use of more than one language. And whereas bi means duo or couple, which uses two languages. This shows that bilinguals use only two languages, whereas pluri is more than two. It could be 2, 3, 4, 5, and many, so on. And plurilingual is defined not only as the sum of additional of two or more languages. It is like the different kinds of alterations, such as codification of meaning when delivering a speech. For example, just now when we were doing the sketch, you could see that Marvin was speaking Filipinos, and when I listened to him, a person who can speak English, I spoke to him in Filipinos. That shows that I'm a plurilingual. And next is, so let's see the difference between plurilingualism and plurilingual. So what is plurilingualism? Anyone can guess like the difference between plurilingualism and plurilingual? Yeah.
Plurilingual is a person.
Okay.
But plurilingualism is the community.
The word. The word means foreign. Yeah. So the plurilingualism here means it's the ability of a person who has the competence in more than one language, and they can switch between multiple languages depending on the situation to ease the communication. Whereas plurilinguals practice multiple languages and are able to switch between them when necessary without much difficulty. This shows that plurilingualism is like the competency among the speakers, whereas plurilinguals are those who speak the language. And I like to end my talk with a quote, with a poem. Clouds are hanging in the sky, didn't know who put them together. Language are the trait binding us together by understanding each other so that we can hang out together.
Next is multilingualism. So what is multilingualism? Multilingualism can be defined is the social linguistic situation that someone or people of a group is able to use more than one language languages in communication within in writing or spoken in more than 2 different languages. Okay, I will draw something. Okay, example. Okay, Ali. I will draw Ali. Yes, this is Ali. Okay. Ali. Okay. Okay, Ali. This is Ali. So, his native speaker is Malay. Ali, Malay, bukan. So, he learned other language than Malay, English. Okay, you know Malay and English. Okay, English. Mandarin. So this will affect his life. Like if he know more than one language, so he will be able to show himself that he can market himself in the job, or he can speak to other people other than his Malay society. Okay, this is for individual, and for the community, it is the same. Okay, for community, if the community speak the some language like Indian community or Malay community, so how the acceptance of other people with their language that they use in the society. Okay, so and there are roughly 6,500 spoken language in the world, but there are only 2,000 languages that have fewer than 1,000 speakers. Okay, the most spoken language in the world is Mandarin, Chinese. Okay, so and lastly, it is estimated that roughly half of the world population is multilingual. So there are most people in the world, half of the people they are multilingual than monolingual. And this show the most spoken language, and the first rank is Chinese, second Spanish, and the third language